So if this is Wakanda Forever, then what's the next one gonna be? Wakanda Forever times infinity plus 2? If you get it, then you two are old as hell like me. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever is brought to us by director Ryan Coogler and stars Letitia Wright, Lupita Nyong'o, and Angela Bassett. The people of Wakanda fight to protect their home from intervening world powers as they mourn the death of King T'Challa. So this is the sequel to 2018's Black Panther, like you didn't already know that. And this is going to be my spoiler-free review, but I will have a spoiler review that will be available right here as soon as it's available online. Now, I haven't reviewed the original Black Panther because it came out before I had a YouTube channel and I've never gotten around to it. But as far as that movie goes, I thought it was pretty good. I don't necessarily think it's as great as a lot of people say it is, but I thought it was a thoroughly entertaining flick. Was it the best MCU movie in my opinion? No, but it was one of the really good ones. It had a great villain, a great lead, and a really entertaining story that kept me enthralled all the way to the end. Now, to anyone who has watched my channel for any period of time will know it's no secret that I haven't really been that enthralled with the MCU since Endgame. Pretty much every movie that's come out that doesn't have Spider-Man in it has kinda let me down. Shang-Chi was okay, but beyond that, everything else has been kinda lackluster. And some things have just been outright bad. Phase 4 as a whole has just kinda been a shit show in my opinion. And I was hoping, as I am with every MCU movie that comes out, that this would be the one to get the MCU back on track. This would be the one to get me excited for what's to come. So was it? I mean, excited for what's to come is probably not the best way to put it, but I will say that this is the best entry in Phase 4. Granted, that's not really saying much, but hear me out. Before you start typing the hate comments down below, no, I didn't hate this movie. I did enjoy it a whole lot more than anything that's come in this phase. It did do some things that I liked, but it also did a lot of things that I just wasn't feeling. Let's start with the positives. For the most part, the performances and the characters I did enjoy. Letitia Wright, Denis Guerrera, and Angela Bassett were all fantastic. Winston Duke as well, I really enjoyed his character. Wright and Bassett were the hearts of this film, and you really felt it. They're dealing with a loss, and it is a real life loss as well, and that does add something to it. I thought they did a very good job of showing the grief of this loss. That is a really big thread throughout this film, and the movie spends a respectable amount of time on that, and then it moves on with its story. Now, from a story perspective, the way that they did handle Chadwick Boseman's passing, I thought was as best as they could. We are given a reason, though a lot of things are left vague. Thankfully, they never do like a CGI deep fake Chadwick Boseman or anything. I thought the way that they did this, the way they went about dealing with this situation was very tasteful. That being said, Chadwick Boseman's presence is sorely missed here. Now for our villain, Namor, played by Tenoch Huerta, I think I pronounced that right. I did enjoy him for the most part too. Well, I liked his performance. As far as the character goes, I thought he was a neat character. There were things about him I did like, and they did spend a decent amount of time trying to flesh out his character. I never really felt like we got much substance for this character. Even though they did spend a lot of time telling us about him and showing us things and talking about him, he just felt a little empty. We learn where his people come from and how they came to be, but we don't really learn much about his people. And I feel like that's kind of important to what the movie was trying to put out there as to why he's doing this. The movie wants you to sympathize with these characters, and I wanted to sympathize with them, but I never knew really enough about them, or at least felt enough for them to sympathize with them too much. That and them little wings on his feet, I don't care. What the comic book did, that shit looked kind of goofy. But wait, there is more positive before I get into the negative stuff. There is a character that we get for a short period of time in about the second third of the film. I don't want to say much as to who or what it is so as to ruin it, but there was a part, and I think once you've seen the film, you'll know who I'm talking about. I really enjoyed this moment in the film, and I really enjoyed seeing this character. The ending of the film I also thought was well done. I don't mean like the big ending Marvel battle that is inevitably going to happen and does happen. No, the very end of the film, which also bleeds into a mid-credit scene. There is no end-credit scene in this movie, by the way. That's not a spoiler. Everybody knows that they put it out there. But the very end portion of the film I thought was very well done. There's a bit of a tribute built into it, you can guess for who, that I thought was very heartfelt, and this was a great way for the movie to go out. Now, for some negatives. The story as a whole was just kind of there. It's not bad, but it's nothing really revolutionary. Honestly, I would have been okay with the story had it not taken so fucking long to tell it. Yeah, this movie's 2 hours and 41 minutes, and this isn't one of those, oh, it's 2 hours and 41 minutes and it felt like, you know, an hour and a half or 2 hours. No, this feels like 3 hours and 41 minutes. Yeah, that was on purpose. Or at least in the first half of the movie it does. The second half of the film is actually more entertaining and more engaging, but the first half of the film, beyond the first 20 minutes that deals with Bozeman and all that stuff, everything else in between there, from after our opening segments until about the halfway mark, is quite the slog. Like, I was not almost bored, I was pretty bored at points. That's not to say that there's not entertaining moments within this part of the film, but there are long stretches of stuff that are just kind of boring. A lot of it is meant to be character development, and I love character development, but there was a solid probably 30 minutes of this movie that could have been condensed. I don't necessarily mean cut like any particular scene out, though there are some that could probably have been cut out, but at least shorten some of these scenes. Some of them just drone on and on. Also, the character of Riri, aka Ironheart, I just really didn't care for this character. Her character being in this movie just served no point whatsoever beyond introducing her to the MCU. And honestly, it wasn't that good of an introduction if you ask me. Had her character fit in and had an actual point in this film, I probably wouldn't have disliked her so much. But seeing as how she was just kind of there, seeming like she was shoehorned in, her character kind of got on my nerves every time she showed up, because I was like, what the fuck are you doing here? That and her suit that she gets in the end, we've seen it in the trailers, it's no big spoiler or anything here. That suit, yeah, I'm not a fan. Though fans of a certain legacy Nintendo property might be real happy because her suit pretty much looks like that character. Can you guess which character I'm talking about? But as far as this character goes, yeah, the suit, it just didn't work for me. Now, that second half of the movie that I said was more entertaining, yes, it was more entertaining, but it still wasn't perfect. The action in this movie is all well choreographed, it all looks great. The movie as a whole looks really good. I mean, it's like a $200 million movie, it better look good. But I just couldn't help but notice when the action scenes started, they just weren't all that exciting. I mean, they were neat, they were fun, I guess, but I never like got really excited and really pumped when I was seeing these scenes. They were all just kind of like missing that something, that thing that gets your blood pumping. It just wasn't there. And the final thing that at least I will talk about today would be the person who becomes Black Panther. I do like this character, really, but this character as Black Panther, I didn't really know it until I saw it. I don't really know if I like it. Maybe it's the way they carry themselves or the way that it's portrayed, I'm not sure, because it's not a whole lot in the movie. Black Panther doesn't really show up as a character until closer to the end, but something about it just didn't quite get me. It makes sense that this character would be Black Panther, and up to that point, I was down for this character being Black Panther, but once this character became Black Panther, just the way it was presented, I didn't love it. I wanted to like this movie, and overall, I did. I mean, I had a decent time with it, but I was really hoping for more than that. I was hoping for that old Phase 2 and Phase 3 Marvel extravaganza, and that's just not what I got. I was hoping this would be the one to get Marvel back on track, and while it is better than all the other Marvel movies that have come this phase, it was still kind of a disappointment in more ways than I would have liked. Now, that being said, it was overall entertaining, and if you're a Marvel fan especially, I think you'll have a good time with it, and it is worth seeing. But at the end of the day, I think the first one was better than this one. Guys, Wakanda Forever was okay. While it's a technically well-made movie, it has some really good performances, and it deals with its tragic loss very well. The overall slog of a first half, the villain that seems like he could be cool, but overall is not very compelling, and a bloated runtime that takes a decent story and stretches it out far too long kind of outweighs some of those positives some of the time. The movie does thankfully end in a really great way, but it wasn't quite enough to reach the heights of the original. And while it is totally worth seeing, I'd wait to check this one out on streaming.
Across the street.
Now, that's not a bad rating on my scale by any means, but admittedly, I was hoping this one would be a bit higher. So there it is, guys, my review of Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. If you enjoyed and want more content like this, hit that subscribe button and help my little channel grow. If you want to help out the channel, check out my Patreon in the description below and become a jarhead and get some of the awesome benefits to go along with that, like these guys, and possibly check out my top tier and become a bad motherfucker like my man Silverlock and Marge G, and also check out my memberships here on YouTube. If you liked what I had to say, give me a like. If not, let me know in the comments below why. And as always, stay sexy, Wakanda. So for those of you that were wondering which Nintendo character I was talking about that Ironheart looks like, well, it's Samus Aran. I mean, how could it not be? I mean, look at it. Who didn't see that? The whole time I saw this character flying around, shooting stuff and all that, I just kept saying, that's fucking Samus. I mean, except for the whole thing with the girl going, woo, and yeah, let's go the whole time. But just the look, yeah, that's Samus. Oh, also, diehard MCU fans, that's your Iron Man now. Yeah, take that in.